Welcome back to Ordinal Revolution. My name is Shizzy. On this channel, we cover the entire Ordinal ecosystem. What's up, guys? We are live. We got another really good episode for you guys today. We are live with J25, Ordinal Hour. We're going to go for an hour, probably past that, but we'll see. It should be a good time. A lot of good things happening in the market right now. We got Unisat about to add a couple coins to the swap, which is big. We got a bunch of stuff to talk about. We're even going to get into some Solana and some Ordinals inscriptions. So should be fun. Let me bring in my partner, as always, Mr. Iago. What's up, buddy?
What is up? Happy Friday. TGIF. Full from turkey, eating tons of turkey yesterday.
Yeah, man.
Feeling good.
Yeah, dude. You know what I had yesterday that was different? I had string bean casserole. You ever have that?
Yeah, actually.
Game changer, bro. Game changer. I had no idea you could do that.
Yeah. My wife actually makes a really good green bean casserole, and my mom always requests it. And yesterday we took food over there, and she didn't make it this year. So my mom was like, "Y'all got to go back and get it." And no, I'm just messing around. But yeah, I love green bean casserole.
Yeah, the first time I had it, man, I was like, "Oh shit, this is something I need to have every year now." But yeah, it's getting to some crypto stuff. So we have J25. We're going live with J25. It rhymes really well, so definitely want to have him on for that reason alone. No, I'm just joking. But we got an Ordinal Hour. What are you excited about for this week?
I'm excited to see how I'm excited to see where Bitcoin goes, right? Because that's gonna tell us pretty much the next phase of where Ordinals is gonna go. It's delayed off of what Bitcoin does, and I don't know, man. Like I think everybody expected this Black Friday pullback, and it didn't happen the way people expected. So a little shock there. But yeah, I'm excited about that. I'm excited to see if we can get to 42, 43, and then Ordinals reacting to that.
Yeah. It's always been my prediction: 42 and then a 34 pullback. So I mean, it's still on track for it. Ordinals definitely slowed down, besides a few, and we'll get into that later. But without further ado, let me bring in the man of the hour, Mr. J25. What's up, buddy?
Good. How are you guys?
Welcome to Ordinal Revolution, man.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. Yeah, I got to watch you guys all the time. Really enjoy the media you're putting out and the content, and yeah, hopefully there'll be more community contributions. Wink, wink.
100%, dude.
For sure.
Definitely. So let's dive into your background a little bit. Can you talk about your crypto journey? Take as far as back as possible.
For sure. Yeah. So I've been playing poker since high school. I heard about it from some friends when I lived in Vegas. And there was, of course, this degenerate game called open face Chinese poker that you could play on there. It's a very niche game. It still goes on today. There's been variants of it, kind of like PLO's having a lot of variants. But anyways, I bought some Bitcoin when it was like $200. Bought a half a Bitcoin, played on there. The site changed to Satoshi Dice, actually. And I don't know if it was the original Satoshi Dice or just kind of a ripoff, because everybody does that. Like one person puts out something cool and like, oh, we got to do the same thing. So I talked to the dev and they ended up sending it to a wallet. Well, I didn't really know wallet security at the time, of course, and changed my phone over, load up the app, and it's empty. And I'm like, that's why I needed a seed. So then I learned a lot more. But got back into it like 2017, I'd say. I started doing mining rigs. So I bought a S9 Antminer, an L3 Plus, and then I did computer gaming. So I knew about GPUs and things like that. So Ethereum was a natural thing. I just started tinkering with it on my computer, and then had a buddy that built computers who taught me. So we did a rig together. He eventually got sick of it, so I bought it from him and kind of went from there. So yeah, I used to be much more of just like a hodler. I bought at the lows sometimes, mainly just mined it. And then NFTs came around, that got interesting and got into that. Probably should have just kept hodling, but I was able to get some good whitelists, and I have some decent like high-end ones that I can stake and earn ApeCoin, or I really like Yuga assets and some of the top tier ones. Shout out to On-Chain Monkey. They definitely brought me more into the realm, and they're doing a lot of things on Bitcoin, as you guys know. So I'd say that's pretty much it. And then Ordinal started happening. So I saw Danny speaking in like February, didn't really understand what was going on. And then in March was much more interested with like the launch of BRC20s and going on with that. And it's really just kind of reinvigorated my like research aspects, getting into like tinkering with computers again, because after the merge, I wasn't doing anything with the rigs, and obviously the ant miners were no longer profitable. I didn't really want to upgrade because mining is like a decent game if you get in like when it was lower, but as electricity costs keep rising, it's definitely tough to beat that, and you're investing a decent amount in equipment. So if you're going to do it, you should really do it at scale, like with a host or even just buying stock. There's companies that do this professionally, and they're incentivized to be as efficient. You know, you have companies looking into volcanoes and solar, hydroelectric's popular. So, you know, I just think that there's a wide range of options in that field right now. Maybe they're not the most decentralized, but it's, you know, the reality we have.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so I've just kind of been diving into trying to be more technical and researching different aspects of like BRC20s, the swaps. We've been talking a lot about BitVM and drive chain. We've been fortunate enough to have some people come by and that know a lot more than us and just listen and ask questions. So it's been really cool. Shout out to Ordinal Support Desk. Yeah, we've been having a blast in there. Those guys and based artists really have been a home to me ever since like the midsummer. I kind of just am a lurker a lot of the time, like to do my research, but have really kind of went more out open faced, you know, talking a lot more, trying to just make connections rather than be just a lone wolf.
Yeah, I definitely noticed that you were down in the listener area a lot, and then all of a sudden you're up speaking, and then you're hosting, and then you're all over the place in there. So that was pretty cool to see.
Yeah, it's definitely just got my brain, you know, moving 100 miles a minute. And, you know, sometimes it's, you know, banging your head against the wall too, but it's definitely interesting. And I like the perspective all the guys bring, you know, from Block with his takes on BRC20s.
Yes.
You got 1 and 2 just always bringing really diligent research.
Bitmap is revolutionary.
This is why bitmaps are revolutionary. I'll give him that one. He convinced me. You know, I was around near like I got one at 2.5, 420. So I was like, I'll grab one for the culture. It's a 420. It's got a 25 in it, J25. Yeah, haha. And really didn't get into it more because like a respected dev was just like, it's a text inscription. Why the hell would you want that?
Yeah.
And watch the volume, can't ignore that. Watch the community, can't ignore that. And then 1 and 2 and meeting Recursive Verse was just like the tipper. You know, and I went in, I don't have more than 10, but I went and grabbed a little bundle when it was a little bit before $50. So yeah, I'm in the green right now and just see like the long-term aspects. Just why it's got almost like a hybrid aspect to it. It's a shit coin. Maybe it's a metaverse play. Yeah. Maybe it's a key entry into other things. I'm not really excited about the metaverse, but I like the aspects of, you know, like a keyed entry into experiences or into other things. I think that has potential, especially if big business gets into it, right?
Yeah, token gated is a perfect system for it. But
and it's not something that's just like made up by like VCs that, oh, this plot, whatever, here's downtown. Like it's got at least something that it's pointing to that's blockchain related. So I think that's really been what's propelled it. We saw quad keys didn't really take off. We've seen other interpretations not really take off.
Yeah. I think that's the biggest part of why it took off is because there wasn't any like centralized entity that was coming in that had millions of dollars. I mean, Blockimoto came up with the concept of bitmap theory, but he didn't have like millions of dollars going, this is exactly how it's going to be. And that
it was a protocol.
Exactly. And so
it was even changed early, but
yeah. I remember Block definitely reminds a lot of people.
You can't forget if you know Block.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, man, that's awesome. So, you know, were you crushing it mining Ethereum? Because I had some friends that were mining Ethereum whenever it was proof of work, and they were like, "Man, dude, I'm so
it's
sad."
Solid, especially when it was a lower price. It was definitely solid. Back in like the 1070s days when it dipped down back to like 200 or so, and nobody really wanted to do it. It was definitely solid for a good while, but with rising energy costs and just like upgrading your equipment, I would upgrade my main PC and then like move it down the line. So that's why I have like 5 PC or, you know, towers right now. I've tried to sell a couple, this and that, but the GPU market's so flooded. So now I'm like, oh, well, I'll put a node on this one. Maybe I'll do a Linux node on another. And just, with all the random hardware and wiping hard drives so much over the mining years, I pretty much just have to go one by one and like do everything again. I've even been updating like the BIOSes just to be safe, because somebody gave me that as a tip. Like, you've been kind of hard on those rigs, so just start as fresh as possible.
Yeah, that's cool.
I want to jump into some comments really quickly. So we got a
Awesome.
new member joining the show. We have Lucien Rivera. Thank you so much for becoming a member.
Yeah,
And
hit
then
that
we have,
subscribe button.
we have our boy Danny. He's been a member for a while. Danny boy, welcome. Let's fucking go. Great buys going on. And we have J25. Oh, yeah, you. And we have,
I got two screens. Yeah.
we
got more
have
than that,
Chief Axel.
No,
Welcome to the show.
that's I think that's Miami Chief.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Shout out to them.
Danny Boy actually has a question for you, Jay. Welcome
cool.
J25. What do you think of CLSK as a miner to buy? My only stock I own, but I've heard great things.
I don't know that specific one. I've heard of, I'm kind of blanking on all of them. It's Riot. Yeah, that's what it is. Riot. There's a couple US ones. I would just do your own research. I don't have any specific preference of any of them. If you want to play a hash rate play, that's really been what I've been focusing on. I've been watching the mempool a lot ever since it's spiked up. And just if you think that long term the hash rate's going to go up, then they ideally should make more money. But there is the halvening in the spring. So does it, go over that? Is there a breakthrough in chips? Everybody's saying that this is probably the last open air mining system. They'll probably move to more of like a coolant or a liquid state mining like AI has. That's why a lot of them are interested in making like database and AI plays.
Yeah.
Well, so that, I think diversification's good. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think the hash rate is going to continually go up, because I think they love ordinals because of that, and like they're seeing that, hey, look, to the laser eyes, they're probably like, we need to continually be profitable in the future, and with the rewards getting cut in half, even though Bitcoin's price is going to increase, corporations, public companies, their job is to be able to make more for their shareholders, right?
Right. Yep.
So
that's who they respond to at the end of the day.
Caleb,
and they make everything. Yeah.
First live chat. Love your comment. Thank you so much, Caleb. Appreciate that, buddy. All right. We'll jump to some banners there.
Yeah. So J25, you're pretty well connected into the the OCM community, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because that's where I first remember I saw your PFP and stuff like that. So like you get to hear Danny talk a lot, and you're in the Discord and all that stuff, man. Like
for sure.
He's one of the first people that I was just like, when I heard him talk, I was like, he talked about recursion. I was like, this guy, I need to follow him and listen to everything he says.
No, he definitely knows his coding, Bitcoin, just anything to do with a computer, honestly. And yeah, he's definitely a whiz. Well beyond anything I could ever aspire to be.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's nice. I actually met him at Bitcoin Miami. I was down there for that. Him?
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, I've seen him, in spaces, etc., community, things like that. They've been doing some Discord where they'll have somebody that's there. If they can live stream it, they'll live stream it to the Discord. So it's all choppy, things happen, whatever. It's just somebody's phone. But yeah, that was cool to meet him. We had the Bitcoin Frogs OCM meetup there. So there was some random crossover there. They actually met up in New York earlier when they were first like minting, and connected with some OCM people there. So yeah, it was a little bit of like grassroots marketing from people in the community. So it was cool. Yeah, we had a good little time at a bar, got to connect with some of them, and yeah, just talk ordinals, see that what could happen. Most of us had one of each or so, or there's people like, oh, maybe I'll trade you a frog to get this, and yeah, it was cool.
That sounds awesome.
Awesome, man. Dope.
All right.
You want to jump right into some of these topics we got?
Yeah, so we got
Sure.
OMB going absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
It was up. It went from what I saw it 2 weeks ago, sitting at around
0.2.
Maybe even lower. I think it dipped to like
0.15,
0.16. Yeah, but yeah, still 0.2. Yeah, now it's doubled, almost tripled.
It was funny because like Shizzy and I would, we always have like, conversations before we start recording and stuff, and it was like, what's up with OMB? What's up with OMB? The frogs are taking off, and I go, it's gonna happen, but they're waiting on their time, and it seems like to me now, like after everybody else had their run, OMB is coming up.
I definitely think it has something to do with them being an upper echelon, higher price ticket.
Yeah.
You can even see it with the frogs. Once they hit that 0.15, it was definitely a wall, and now it's come back a little.
Yeah.
So they've already priced well over that. You saw the same thing with maybe OCM Dimensions. It was dipping down for a good little while and then picked back up as well. Those two, I think, are two good ones to compare because they seem to both move. They're different collections, different art, different sizes, things, but
different markets.
They seem to move at least a little bit in tandem because of their price point, I'd argue.
Yeah. Well, think about OCM. There's no value for them ever. They're never in the top 12 here.
Yeah, usually it's because there's a big ticket buy here and there, but they do have their own marketplace, osura.com.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's not as widely known about, but there is definitely a bit of volume over there because most of the community knows about it. So they generally choose to go there. Yeah. And that's where you'll have the Genesis collection will also be there. And then future collections, like there's an Alexei Andre drop coming eventually on Bitcoin that if you own an OCM, you'll have a claim for throughout a tier system. You can look all into that on OCM.com or onchainmonkey.com or obviously the Discord, ask around. It gets a little just like deep and heavy once you start talking about it. Like, oh, this tier has this, and what's that collection? Oh, and then what's that full set? And so it's just easier to look on there a little bit, and then I can answer any questions, or the Discord's great.
Yeah, I always put OCM and OMB in that top tier. Like if the top two collections in terms of premium value, and then frogs are kind of like frogs is a staple, obviously, of the space.
Yeah,
but it's that
and
10K.
community free mint, right?
Yeah,
I mean, I know there was a lead dev, but Frog Toshi's just kind of walked away. I mean, ZK put out a note, and it was put on Twitter a little bit that like something's coming. So, and nothing really kind of moved after that. So maybe some people got a peek and he's leaked to something. Or I also found it interesting that Rajandel is going to be working with Taproot Wizards.
What?
Even though he's been a skeptic of
the Sophon guy.
Sophon creator, yeah. And he's been a bit skeptical of Ordinals too. We actually had Super Testnet come in and talk bit VM and his interpretation of it. He wants to basically build a Game Boy on Bitcoin. He had a talk with Paul Stork today, who does layer 2 foundation and is trying to do drive chain. So they were both kind of bashing each other's in good fun, of course. Really, they were bashing their own protocols more than anything. But so he came in and was discussing BitVM and where it can go, and just is really focused on getting a Game Boy on there, and we found that fun. But, I don't know if it's going to happen tomorrow.
Was Robin in there too?
Robin was in the talk today. He wasn't in the Ordinal support desk, but he was in the talk today for a little bit. He didn't talk very much. It was mainly Paul and Super Testnet. And then Super Testnet kind of went well into why he was not happy with BitVM, because the compute time is just so slow, because you can only do things like every 10 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, without changing like the core, you're just trying to get the best you can, right? And so that's what it's going to be until the politics change and that ends up happening. But it's so funny because what's his name, Rajandel? Yeah. Like everybody thinks he hates Ordinals, but like I'm convinced he loves Ordinals because he's always in every freaking like big Ordinals like the Ordinal show chat.
He's definitely around it a bit. I remember what he came in and told us about now. So when you're running a node, there's a point where basically the witness data is no longer checked. Call it 100,000 blocks. I don't know the exact number. None of us did, even Rajandel. But after that point, in theory, since it's not checked and verified and barely called, you could maybe have a point where maybe someday there's a BIP and it's chosen to not be saved. And then you have a version where people are running a full node and then a partial node and then a pruned node, because we've already seen two different versions. So obviously it's theoretical. We know how easy it is to get BIPs in, whether it's for the good or bad, in your opinion. So it's, if we're going to talk in hypotheticals, maybe that's a route to get there. But realistically, if there's transactions and the miners enjoy it, what incentive do they have to changing that system? Because they're obviously a big proponent in anything that's going to change with a BIP.
Yeah. Yeah. But you're saying that like they could technically, because no one's paying attention to it, erase like
Mhm.
potential ordinal data that's in the witness, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah. It would
that
still
would,
be there. So like if you chose to save it, but then it turns more into like an IPFS system, right? You have to take it upon yourself to make sure the witness data is there and it's callable by others. And the best argument, which I kind of agree with, is that bandwidth over time is going to become more expensive. And we're already seeing that with cable companies and everything else. On the other hand, most like CPUs, RAM, and hardware are getting cheaper, like memory. So is that cost of your bandwidth having to go up because you're running a full node going to outweigh obviously like the sovereignty of running your own node, the access you get with Ord client, and et cetera, things I don't even know about yet. So, is that tangible fit? The miners get the money, but the nodes also play an integral role. And they used to be together at one point, but for scalability reasons, we're separated.
yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So real quick, back to the OMB,
Tangents.
Pico bull top. What do you see OMB possibly getting to?
I want to see them stick there for a little bit. I like it, and this is mainly from the people that I listen to that do TA and have way better knowledge in that area. I've been dabbling a little bit. I've been shown how to show up a fib or set up a fib, but that's about it. Still have never made a leverage trade, even though I have an account. But they all talk about how if you see something go just straight parabolic, like up to the moon, that it's definitely going to have a harder crash. But if you see something jump a level or two, or maybe even three, and then kind of go sideways for a little bit, or even retrace a bit, it actually has some better health prospects. So like the frogs peaked out at 0.15, but it's seen a little retrace lately, but have held pretty firm throughout.
Yeah.
So is it going to be a broader sell-off throughout the market if it dips? We know crypto's just day-to-day crazy.
Yeah.
So the max pain scenario is what like Block always talks about. Whatever is going to be the most crazy and chaotic is probably what's going to play out. So maybe they go back to other levels, maybe they shoot the moon, but I wish I could have maybe got in there, but it's just such a high price point, man. It's a lot to risk.
Could you see OMB getting to like 6 figures? I'm talking about.
I think they could definitely get. I mean, if Bitcoin goes above 50K and you're seeing everybody start talking about it again, like with the Super Bowl ads and the last Pico top, and it's maybe flirting with all-time highs, people are going to be like, wait, I can get stuff that's on Bitcoin that trades for Bitcoin. And with the NFT craze, BRC20s are a staple of volume right now in China. We're not following. I mean, we're not leading the way. We're following China's lead on that. And that's 100%. Why like tonight we're all talking about like, is it going to bottom out tonight and over the weekend? And we're watching the nighttime because that's when China wakes up. So I think like Sunday night, if you see it's still, below 50, we'll probably start tethering off. But if we see another spike by Monday up to like the hundreds, I think 50 might 40, 35 is going to be those value times because everybody's waiting to do stuff. Sat panners, artists, people that want to do transfer inscriptions and save a few bucks, whatever it may be. So as soon as it does dip, you see a rush of transactions because everybody's waiting for a week or 2 weeks or whatever it's been. So just will that volume level out, or will a new coin rip off? Or if everybody starts minting Doge because Elon starts talking about it, I mean, the Doge mint is 10 times the mint of sats. So that took like 6 months to mint out. Block says it'll probably take 2 years. But imagine if all of the BRC20 energy goes behind it because of that new rocket that launches, and Elon's tweeting or posting or whatever it's called these days, that Doge to the moon. Well, the Doge on Bitcoin is going to go crazy. So if you can get, I'm actually probably going to try and put a good mint in of that tonight if it's 650.
Nice. What about you, Shizzy? What do you think? Pico top for OMB?
So obviously I see the Pico top for Bitcoin being between 180K and 250K, right? So to say Ordinal maxi business sitting at 0.5 when Bitcoin's at 180K, Whew, that's pushing it, right? So, I mean, what is that? That's 90K for one Ordinal Max.
But you got to think about it, like the mentality of the pricing is not going to be there's going to be it's going to be somewhat relative to what the price is with
Yeah,
Bitcoin, but also like I told you before, they have their Bitcoin price in their
yeah,
mind. So, like I think like if these ordinals go on a full blown bull run, we could see OMB at like 1.5 Bitcoin. You know what I mean? Like
1.5 Bitcoin could be 300K,
that's what I'm
400K.
saying though. Like what was the top of the mutants, or not the mutants, the apes? That was like a $1 million floor, right? Okay, that was a
Yeah,
different time. There was money that was being circulated like
yeah,
crazy, but like 200K for like the
yeah.
the
No, yeah, I see
highest
your point.
price for the highest price Bitcoin NFT ordinal,
Yeah,
I could see that. I don't know
definitely see
though.
your point. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think though? To Yago?
Exactly what I just said. I could see
No, I
it.
mean, do you see it like exploding past past
Ye
2 Bitcoin, 3
yeah,
Bitcoin?
so yes, I do. I actually think that, like, frogs will get to a little over, like, 1 Bitcoin
Holy shit.
in the bull run, like, full-blown bull run, and I think OMB will get to, like, maybe 2 to 3 between, like,
Ribbit.
I'm just talking about, like,
180K.
full-blown, like, there's, like, beer in the streets, everybody's, like, celebrating, you gotta remember too, like, the Trevor Owens made a great point today on Twitter, saying that every having is an election year,
Yeah,
right? So, and they're talking about stimulus money going out and stuff like
yeah,
that. I mean, they're just going to create more inflation. But what happens whenever inflation and more money gets circulated? These more riskier assets
yeah.
explode.
Mm-hmm.
And you gotta like, there's a potential 11 ETFs that are about to come in, which is going to make Bitcoin very scarce because every single one of these have to buy it. I doubt they're all holding Bitcoin, so we're going to see Bitcoin get very, very scarce, which basically means that the Sats that are inside of these ordinals are scarce as well. So that's big. That's huge, and I don't think no one's really talking about that. So yeah, I mean, just to let alone like your ordinals are sitting in Sats. So
Yeah, I think we got to kind of wait and see how the whole ETF
yeah,
one for one's going to play out, and how much of the money that's going to come over from TradFi actually is going to come over. But like, I
yeah.
definitely do expect, the liquidity in Bitcoin to increase pretty dramatically.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
we'll
for
see.
sure.
Um,
We jump in some
yeah,
comments really quickly before we get going again. We got varying viewpoint GM, the silly party. That's Block, right? Because he said shout out Mouse. So
yes,
Yeah, it's got to be.
shout out Mouse. And we
I
got
saw you replied that.
Gary D, Bitmap Black Friday sale,
Oh,
and we got
what are they
Ordinal
going
Sharks.
down?
They just dropped their Bitmaps are sitting at 0.0. What is it? 0 right there, 158. It's going down a little bit,
Okay,
not crazy.
yeah,
He
$60 or
says
something. So.
that's F and G, my favorite show in Ordinals.
yeah. Shout out to Ordinal Sharks. Congrats on the launch with the ords are.
Yeah, that was
Yeah, with
amazing
the words
launch.
are. Congrats to
Nikib
Keeb as well.
got the first 2. So that's pretty
Nice.
cool. And we got missed one. And we got Caleb O. Love to get your takes on DMT theory. Ugh.
Yeah,
Okay.
Personally, I love
actually,
to, but I think adds a lot
I
of
need 1 and
value.
2 for that.
yeah.
Wait,
So actually, I put that in the banner. We're gonna touch on that
okay.
in a little
Okay,
bit.
cool.
Yeah. So
And then we got BitRents. Thanks, guys. Only up from here. Okay.
let's hope.
Amen.
Let's hope.
Well, yeah. So we do have Caleb. We have Block Runner on our spaces in about 11 hours. So if you want to check
Woo.
that out, we run spaces every Saturday morning from 8 to 11. Definitely want to check them out. Those guys will be on the show. We got Benny joining us tomorrow. We have a really crazy show tomorrow. So check that out if you want to hear more about DMZ. But we'll definitely get into it on here as well.
Yep. All right, let's dive into the next topic here. So, we typically talk about ordinals, BRC20s, but then, we're here for like the Bitcoin ecosystem as well in terms of layer 1 assets. Really is where our focus is. And then atomicals and ARC20s, came about a couple months ago. And then the atomical market really kind of came to market pretty fast, but there's been some issues recently. And then there was news that there's new management over that marketplace. And so
Yeah.
as everybody knows, our good friend Eric was in charge of the Atomicals market in terms of like the marketing side and stuff like that. But I just wanted to know. Let's start with J25. Are you into Atomicals at all? Are you into like the ARC20s? What are your thoughts on these other layer 1 type assets?
I'm definitely interested. I had my couple weeks that we, talked about it a lot, but I would not like our buddy Billy that definitely will jump on any client line and mint anything. He was getting into Doginals, the other day. Before that, it was Atomicals. So I find, the Atom token interesting. I've looked into just the protocol level, and it being a miner, the proof of work on top of proof of work, I think is a really cool idea. Just the fact that you have to like show some hashing energy, even though it's small and minute, to mint a token. So there's a uniqueness that hash and how long it takes to get through it even takes to the token. So you have like a non-fungible aspect on top of even a fungible token of Atom, or that could be something that plays into like uniqueness of NFTs in that model, other things of that nature, or just like a cool nerdy thing that I noticed. But I've never bought any. I know a bunch of people that have gotten into it more, and I did hear about some of the indexing issues. I didn't know Eric had stepped away, or I don't know if he's still with them, but we've chatted a bit about it. They had Toth, or I'm not sure if I'm saying his name right, but he's one of the lead guys working on Atomicals, and I know they really are trying to fix what's going on. So hopefully they get there, because I do like that proof of work model. I think that's something that's going to play out over the years, just that energy being put into a digital asset over a staking model, which in my opinion is just like bonds.
Yeah. And I actually love the proof of work model. I believe like the CPU has to match the hash or something like that, and then that's how they generate the tokens. I love that.
Yeah, it's just a simpler hashing mechanism than like SHA-256, which would take that forever.
Yep. So it looks like what happened is it says the protocol doesn't support the secure way of signing the PSBT, so the market needs to use sig hash _none. So that's what they were using to kind of get around the limitation of the protocol, and then that's what caused the problem. But after talking to Eric and kind of looking at this definitely wasn't anything intentional from what I'm seeing. It was something that was like they were trying to serve a market need, right, to try to get this out there. And unfortunately, by trying to do that, they ran into this issue. But new management is what the news is. But Eric is still kind of in behind the scenes and stuff.
Yeah, he'd been around the last couple of days, and hadn't mentioned it. He had explained a lot of those things. He did explain that to me, but even that's a little bit beyond me. I've heard of those terms, but I don't know exactly where they go. But just like Taproot assets, just Ordinals theory, it's a hack around, right? It's a way we found to do something elegant that wasn't expected when it was put in there. So they're working at a protocol level. They're trying to make a fix as soon as they found it. They could have easily just kept it under the rug and let it keep going, but they've shut down everything, are slowing everything down, and trying to do it right, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, they couldn't do that because like some people lost their Atom, but the fact that they've already offered those people I believe refunds. Don't quote me on that, but from what I read, that's what I saw. But yeah, so I just think I just want to make sure that like Eric doesn't get like this huge like bad rap for this, because we talked to Eric a lot, and we know that like he was just really trying to bring this to market for the need. But I don't know, Shizzy, what do you think about everything?
Yeah, so obviously we're close with Eric. We had him on the show 3 times already. He's a really amazing person, a base community member, and all that. And I definitely trust him, right? And I don't oh shit, we just had our first ever super chat, $4.99. That's really cool. Thank you, Ordinal Sharks.
Appreciate it.
But yeah, it's our first ever one. So thank you. We'll always remember that. But
we got to take shots now. No, I'm just
but anyway, so like I said, I trust Eric to the fullest. But my only issue with it was Atomicals market blaming Atomicals protocol. and then Atomical's protocol coming out and saying, no, those guys are wrong and nothing to do with the protocol, everything to do with the marketplace. That was the problem for me. Like, if they came out in the beginning and said, this was a mistake, that's fine. But they came out kind of blaming A from Atomicals, who is the lead developer, created everything. And we had a discussion with A, smart guy, amazing dev, and him to come out and really just shit on everything that they blamed him on was huge for me, because then it's just pointing fingers, and that's like the worst thing you can do.
Well,
Yeah.
did you read the post? Because I felt like the Atomicals market wasn't aggressively stating that. It was more of like this was a limitation, and we had to work around it doing this. But then
A came out and said it wasn't a limitation.
But that's what I'm trying to say. That's where I felt like that energy was definitely more aggressive on that side. I'm not trying to say whose fault is what. Hey, we're all adults here, right? Like, at the end of the day,
the fact that A came out so aggressive just showed me that, he was like, whoa. Obviously, he's defending his baby, right? So it was kind of like, defending your child. But like, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it seems like, hey, look, there's a solution for it now, because new management came through, and they're working, I believe, with the Atomicals protocol team, and to get it all worked out and stuff. And we just kind of have to see that's how early we are, right? In these different protocols, is that you're going through like bumps and bruises, and it sucks, sometimes. But kudos to Eric and his team for stepping up and saying, hey, send us your transaction ID or whatever. We're gonna resolve whatever.
And to my point, like, I trust Eric to the fullest. I truly believe that he had nothing to do with if anything was corrupt or anything was like not up to par. I don't think he had anything to do with it.
Yeah, but there wasn't anything from everything I read. There wasn't anything intentional like that. But I don't know what J25 last words on that.
Yeah, like you said, he was like the front man, out there and talking about it on Spaces and things like that. Obviously, he has some dev experience, but he wasn't the lead dev, so he doesn't have total insight into that. Even when we talked to him, he's like, "Yeah, I got to bring that up to the devs because that's beyond me." So, every single marketplace has had some issue with something. I mean, Prince, you can't even trade yet. Rare sat or exotic sats on Magic Eden. Some people are not getting the right ones at a certain point. How many of us have been in a botched mint? I mean, these things are going to happen. If they're being nefarious, I mean, I think they would have really went for a home run rather than, unfortunately, there was a couple issues, but that's how they find out about these things. 5 people hit up a support ticket. They find out about it. They look at the record. Oh, shit. And they slow things down, try to figure out what's happening. If they can bring it back up, they will. If they can't, they got to do something else and look into it. And that's what they're doing, right?
Exactly. Don't get me started on the EVM side. All types
oh yeah, that money's already at the exchange in somebody's pocket. I mean, that's gone.
Right. You have like Dexes talking to centralized exchanges like on Twitter. You know how the whole spiel goes.
Yeah, but I was in when Sushi Swap had their little issue. I was like an old person that used it, and I'd been maybe 2 months gone, but I saw it on Twitter and I hopped in there. And it wasn't like anything that would have been assets of mine by any means, but it was just kind of crazy to see how, even something like that's big, when you're experimenting with new things, as many of them do after a while to keep revenue streams coming in. A new contract can do a new thing. And yeah, I think there was another one like today or yesterday that the lead devs was like said it was the most sophisticated attack they'd ever seen. So people are going to keep trying to do that kind of stuff. So that's why I am interested in like these simpler swap modules, maybe BitVM and Drive Chain. After talking about that more, I've become a bigger supporter. I'm not going to go out there and campaign or anything like that. But I think it's a good model for even these side chains that are already built out or trying to build out to get behind and say, we want to build in this method, but Drive Chain would give us a protocol level approach to do so. And it would be a joint community kind of thing.
The problem with Drive Chain is it potentially takes 6 months to get your Bitcoin out.
It'd probably be
willing
3. I agree, but the point that was brought up to me is look at staking. Staking was locked for a period of time, and then they made a synthetic token to just trade it anyways. Shitcoiners going to shitcoin, and they'll figure out a way around it.
I guess you could trade in the USDC over there as well, because if Drive Chain
somebody would make like a locked BTC or something, an LBTC, whatever. You know what I mean? There would be somebody that would speculate on the arbitrage.
That's true.
So that could be even a chain's purpose. One of the chain's purposes is to do that liquidity kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think
And you
the
do
three
get a
3 to
wrapped
6
version.
months, because you have to have half of them, right? So it should happen in 3 months if there's nothing nefarious going on.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think that was put in there specifically from the sound of it, from the developer, leading it, Paul Stork, that it was a way to give more security than was ever possibly needed to
Yeah.
wrong sats getting back on the main chain. So that was kind of put in there maybe as a preliminary precaution and could be changed in the future. I think that's his plan, is like, let's just get this in there one way or another that could actually be approved. And we'll have this ridiculous 3-month thing on the back end. So that way it's kind of a bone to the laser eyes to maybe say, let's do this.
Yeah.
I think it's still a long shot, but I would just like to see, things that Stacks is doing with doing a pegged BTC is going to do a very similar mechanism as a drive chain. And other people are going to try it, and other people have tried it in the past. If there was a protocol level development within a BIP, it would be a much safer place than the Wild West. People are getting scammed on the phone, on Bitcoin, everywhere. So to say that like people shouldn't have the choice to freely transact as they like is a little silly as an argument to me when you're talking about Bitcoin already.
Yeah. But for drive chain to even be a possibility, that there needs to be a core update, right?
Yeah, I mean, or they could just work with the side chains to make a model working and then go from there. I mean, there's already a test net and things out. I've been looking at the page a little bit, haven't dabbled in that far.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's kind of the model they do want to see, is like they want you to put a client out, campaign for years, get the miners behind you. And once you get the miners, that's the big thing. So
Yeah.
it's kind of a tough sell right now to say, yeah, there's all this traffic on there. This is going to be their biggest hurdle, is to say, miners, you're too congested. Please move all of this to the drive chain so you can make a fraction of the price. So
They're
I think
not going
that's
to go for that.
unless it's to the point where it's going to break the chain.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the consideration they do have to make, because they're going to be doing projections. I've mentioned to several TA people, like, have you done any TA on the hash rate? Because I'm really interested to see what they would think. At the end of the day, it's a really good model to just see if there's kind of something brewing there. I mean,
I never actually heard that together, TA and hash rate. That's the first time I've actually.
It's a chart. It's a chart. That's what all of them say is, give me a chart and I'll chart
data.
it.
You can chart any data, but if you think about it from a miner's perspective, it's very interesting that you bring this up, because a miner's mindset right now is we want them to keep working around core development, not change core, not update the core. I mean, like, you can get it done. Look, Segwit got done, Taproot got done, but it took like a couple years, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is that like the hash rate going up the way it has been just from ordinals, in their mind, they're like, oh, let's see what runes can do. Let's see what pipe can do. I don't know how much because those are stored in the op return, so I don't know how much that would increase the hash rate, but it would increase because it's still transactions going through, right?
Yeah, it's more code on the chain. At the end of the day, it's zeros and ones, and some algorithm saying what that's going to be in transaction fees.
Dude, this is nuts. This is just straight up to the right.
Dude,
I've never seen anything like that.
It was like that in the was it Mark? It's BRC20s. Let's be real, right? It's BRC20s.
I mean, it was tapped the last couple of days, but at the end of the day, it's a JSON file, so it could fall under that category. It's just starting to get its own subcategory a bit.
Yeah, if this was a coin, this would be the greatest coin of all time. Like,
right?
That's ordinals and BRC20s, bro.
Yeah,
that's the way you need to look at it. But like January to February or January to March, it wasn't like popping off, and then March BRC20 comes in, and then, whoo, and then But and that's I'm curious to what your perspective is on that, because obviously you have the art lovers, which, look, I think the art on Bitcoin, some of it's awesome, it's badass, but like, imagine if BRC20 is never launched. Like, what would the volume and hash rate look like if it
would still be on Excel spreadsheets?
right. It would be like Counterparty 2.0, right?
Rare Pepe.
It never got going. Yeah, exactly. It never really got going. So I think they need to be appreciative that liquidity is coming over here.
Yeah,
because of the tokenized degens that want to play around because they will buy the NFTs or the Ordinals.
And not to mention projects like the Goosenals, projects like the Frogs. You know what I mean? That's another one that's really taking this hash rate up and all that stuff.
Bitmaps to add another
volume,
community run. Yeah,
exactly. Like so with those two, I mean that's the biggest thing on ETH, right? Like the NFTs, the PFPs, and then the
tokens.
EVM tokens. So it's like it's almost the same. So.
Well, so J25, what do you get annoyed whenever the people, the art lovers say, get these shitcoins out of here, or are you kind of like, they have a point because I do love art.
I don't think I would say either of those. I think both definitely have their place, but at the end of the day, like numbers are the numbers, right? How many JSON inscriptions are there versus how many images are there? How much volume is there versus each other? The reason that we're breaking Ethereum NFT levels is because BRC20s are considered an ordinal. So if you were to strip that away and say image ordinals versus token ordinals, would that be the same? No. I really appreciate the Chinese community and Asian community members like Mr. J and Liliana, and we've gotten to speak with Recursive Verse Jeff. They've been very enlightening just about how much volume is going into OKX. I mean, I can even say for myself, I'm not a shitcoiner. I got some meme coin because I got a hot fire list spot or whatever. But like I didn't buy Pepe. I didn't really ever buy tokens. I got some ape because of a mutant, whatever. But like I'm interested in BRC20s on Bitcoin because it's a finite amount of tickers. You can find unique things. There's unique ways to do it, like block with the 0 decimals, and he's experimenting with that. Shout out Matrix Phones. I just think it's a great. I think it's honestly that because it's a clunky system, kind of makes it great. Like it's on Bitcoin. It was first. It has liquidity. They're figuring out a way to try and get it onto like a 1.5 chain. I think once you see a lot of liquidity going into these chains and some of these chains having epic fails, like most people that have used stacks that I've talked to say if there's like 200 to 500 people that want to do anything, it will break. So, they've talked about upgrades, and I know a dev that's working with the Peg Bitcoin and is very impressed with their system. But until they could prove it and do it, we haven't really seen an L2 that's built off of Bitcoin to have true liquidity. It's always been a different chain, a different coin, a different token, whatever it may be.
I think I know who you're talking about.
Who's that?
Peg Bitcoin. They're doing who's doing the bridge for BMPX? Damn it!
Oh, Jack Levin.
No.
Libre.
I don't know Vampire Jack.
No, Libre.
No, shout out Trippin' Monkey. He's been working on the beta for the Peg, and he's come and shared some of that. He's a big advocate for stacks. He's putting in for some of the dev grants over there and stuff. Yeah. So he has high hopes for it, but right now they're focused on the Peg, and the upgrade on the chain isn't even really in the conversation. So that's been talked about for 2 years as far as I'm aware. And I'm not a big stacks maxi or know a lot about it. So this is all just things I've heard. So I'm a little skeptical until I see it, right? Where the swap is working. The swap is out there. There's, some skepticism on the indexers. There's supposed to be like a consortium of indexers to put out a stronger one. And ideally it'll grow from there. They're going to have to iterate. If they were to open the swap in one day, the website would break. If they were to open it up, any website, and like have a Supreme drop, the website breaks if they're not ready for it. So I like how they're doing this kind of in the peel the onion back, and it's working. I mean, it's working better than most other solutions right now.
Yeah, I agree with you. And so they're missing also two things, right? Because there's no stable coin. The modular system is actually, I think it can be an amazing like 1.5 type of chain, right?
And they're with their API out now, people can build off of it. Yeah.
And then you just you start to build other DeFi applications, right, through the modular system. But the main problem is they don't have a stable token, which we are hearing from some of our connections that's something that they're really focusing on, as well as like BTC, right? Because you can't take BTC over there. Right. So what they're doing is really smart right now by strengthening stats as much as they can to kind of be that BTC until they also add BTC if that's possible, right?
Well, it is possible. It's just you guys got to like just tokenize it. Just basically make a wrap version of Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Right.
So I mean, that's all. That's pretty simple.
Which is
you know,
another thing that Drive Chain wants to do. So like it just seems to have all these little portions that everybody's already starting to try and do. But I like things that are built on like a protocol level. They're not trying to build a business, they're trying to build a protocol that's like a a bridge that's partially built and say, okay, I want to see you finish the rest of the way you see it, or like Legos that you put together, whatever analogy you want to use.
Yeah. Damn, man, we've been chatting for almost an hour already.
Wow, time flew by,
man. Yeah,
good,
happy
good
Friday. Hope you got a good Thanksgiving, guys.
Yeah,
man, it was good. You?
Yeah, definitely. Yep, good food. Watch the Lions lose, but yeah, they're doing all right this year.
Yeah,
that's true.
Dude, that Jack Harlow dude was freaking awful. Did you see that halftime show?
I didn't watch that, but like I saw a bunch of people say that Dolly Parton like did better than him, like her halftime show, and I was like, she's 77, man.
He was
walking
around. It was just like, what's popping? I was like, what the hell? Like, I'm not into this new age music, man. My music.
The halftime shows have gotten ridiculous. Yeah.
Oh, it's so awful. But yeah. I want to ask you guys a question real quick. It's not one of the topics, but like, so today I was watching Bit Gods live. Him and he had attributes on there on X, and I don't know, man. I'm getting really bearish on art on Bitcoin. Like, I just don't see the number go up on any of this stuff. I mean, I love Prism. I love what they're doing, and they might be the one exception. But like, I just don't see this art, and especially with so many artists coming on and just kind of like putting out. It's getting oversaturated already. I can't imagine what it's going to look like a year from now. And there's no volume on any of this stuff. So nothing goes to the top of the exchanges. I don't know, man. I'm just getting more and more bearish on art on Bitcoin as you know, as BRC20s and these PFPs, NFTs really start taking off.
Yeah, J25, you go first.
Okay. It's a good point. I mean, we got to watch volume. I think we saw the push in BRC20s, then we saw the push in images of ordinals. Yeah. So I think you have to see those, give and takes. Everything's in a cycle, whether it's, the Bitcoin, ETH, NFT cycle that used to play out. We're definitely in uncharted waters. As I was saying earlier, we try to talk to the Chinese community a lot. And, like I have a phone that's on a VPN that I talk in WeChats on. I really just translate it and look at stuff. And it's usually just random, rah, go with stuff. But it's interesting. But they've brought in, lots of insight. Like I asked Liliana one time, can you talk about like what normal people are doing over there? And she said that they're going and getting the OKX app. It's an exchange on one side and a Web3 wallet on another. So not like Coinbase where you have to download a different one, or you don't have a mobile one for Unisat right now. And Xverse, you can do some stuff inside, but not all. So you need a PC to do a lot of more things, right?
Yeah.
Well, they're able to do inscriptions from that app and mint things. They can do transfer inscriptions on their phone. Yes. I've used the app for like 3 or 4 months now. And it is literally your one-stop spot for everything BRC20s, Bitcoin, etc. Obviously, as a US citizen, you can't use it, but you can still use the Web3 app. You can put in a seed phrase of a hot wallet or make a new hot wallet and send some sats there. And it's definitely, we talked a little bit, I think it was pre-recording, maybe it was during, but there's like arbitrage on the floor too, even against the mempool. Sometimes you just have somebody that wants to dump some tokens and you can get it at a good price, especially with all the volume at OKX. But sometimes Unisat, it swings.
Yeah, for sure. Like you can set. So if you go to okx.com/web3/marketplace/ordinals/BRC20.
Yeah, it'll give you like the warning that you can't go there. I mean, honestly, if you're not using a VPN these days, as I said earlier, I'm from the poker world and we remember Black Friday. You couldn't play in the States anymore. And then there was like a haphazard comeback. Luckily in Michigan, where I'm from, we can play with a statewide, and then one of the sites merged with New Jersey would be, but it is a lot better than it used to be. But international site is still the best. Like when I was in Mexico recently, and I VPN in there, but I do it the safest way possible. I have an address in Mexico and VPN into Mexico. And if they really want to say like, no, you weren't, well then prove it. So I'm willing to, take that risk. I don't play like high limits there. I'm playing like $5 tournaments, could win maybe a little bit. It's more for like big tourneys to play the reps, right? But if you're not using a VPN, there's people in China to do a lot of things have to use a VPN for everything.
Yeah.
So if you're not using a VPN to like at least see what's going on here more, do your own research, be safe. Don't put your key, seed phrase anywhere you don't think it should be. But you just need to be looking at least the volume numbers.
It's
Some might be
crazy.
wash traded, there's no royalties right now. It could easily be wash traded. Look at the activity. If you see a big sale and it looks funky, do your own research. Like I've seen them, but there is a ton of volume there and it's a lot of activity. And it's because everything's all in that one app. They can send it to that Web3 app, or they can go to the exchange and move their Ethereum over, sell their NFTs, whatever. The images and like NFT volume is pretty low, and their overall volume compared to like a Binance or other places is low. But for BRC20 specifically, it's for sure onboarding people.
Oh, okay. So check this out. So
Yeah.
MMSS on Unisat for the past 24 hours has done 0.94 Bitcoin. If you look at that volume on OKX, the past 24 hours, it's $571,000. So it's almost 6 times the amount of volume that is happening on Unisat, right? So it's just crazy.
Well, like Unisat is a Chinese-run company as well, right?
I mean, it caters to the U.S. though.
Think about the logistics, though. You have to get a Web3 app, maybe be theirs, find Bitcoin. So you have to go to an exchange and deal with that and then send it over. The thing is with that, you literally can just like tap down and it gives you the option. Do you want to pick your own Web3 wallet? Maybe you have to save it after the first time, whatever. But yeah, I was actually panning sats there for a good little while it was low over the summer. And I was doing a low amount. I'm not a big 10 Bitcoin one, but I found a black uncommon, some palindromes, some Silk Road pizza, some stuff like that. None of the really rare ones, but I got a little bag tucked away for the long term.
Yeah. And I was talking to somebody today and brought to my attention about the volume on OKX2. And he also said, arbitrage opportunities too.
For sure.
If you see like BTCS, I don't know what the price would be on both sides, but like 29 cents here.
I usually have. Sorry, go ahead, Shizzy.
No, it's how do you see the price rate? 29 cents.
Yeah.
What do you have on Unisat?
No,
I usually have both tabs open if I'm trading any of these.
Do you really?
Yeah,
I gotta start doing
that.
Yeah, because there's like when you sometimes you can find like a 4 cent difference or 3 cent difference, and then you just take advantage of that real quick.
Yeah,
or
you're just getting a lower entry, right?
Yeah. But
if you're trying to do a quick flip, don't do it with BRC20s. I mean, you could have a 40-minute block at any time, right?
That's true. Yeah. That is true.
But I even tried to do it, and I like get it, and then by the time you transfer and scribe, and then you actually list it, it's like, okay, things have kind of leveled off because it could be an hour.
Yeah.
I just look for the better entry, especially against the mempool. Like if the mempool is real frothy, like you can get in under inscription price because somebody just wants their initial back and they got it at a cheaper rate. So you're getting a little bit of that arbitrage of them being early, so they got a cheaper sats per V byte, but the price is kind of spiked because of the mempool. So they're willing to take like 20% less or something than they really could.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's going to take at least like 10 minutes minimum, and that's like a perfect situation.
Another thing, if you're selling like small bundles, because these really sell like NFTs, usually the bigger bundles clog up the bottom, right? So you should try and price like 10, maybe 20, 25% over the floor, because those small bundles they'll reach for, because people want to just buy $300, but they don't want to buy $3,000 worth of honk, So you can see a little premium in that too. That's a little tip for you.
For sure. We got a super chat question here.
Ooh.
Delightful Entertainment. What price do you think track will drop to? Shizzy?
I see it going to $1.80. We're sitting here.
He just calculated that in his brain with his algorithm.
No, I've been looking for it because I
it's
sold
probably bottom range or something
at around 360, and I'm hoping to get back in around $1.80, which is exactly half. So that's just me. What about you guys?
So track, like I think that range is pretty good. It depends on if Bitcoin doesn't shoot up to like what you expected, right? Like that 42, 43,000, and it actually retraces from where we are now. Then that's where I can see like track slowly kind of dwindling back down. I really don't see it going below like, that $1.80, $1.90 range. I feel like that's a pretty strong, because
You
it's
just passed it if you were looking for track. Yeah. It's like 20th.
No,
right there. You just go back down.
Down.
25.
Yeah, right there. Yep.
The purple T.
268 right now. So
yeah, 268, and it got all the way up to 365, right?
Yeah. Almost 380. I saw it.
Yeah. So, one thing about track, I will say, it actually holds its price pretty well. Obviously that first run up that it had, I can't remember when that was. Maybe was that like June, when it got up to like 80 something cents. Remember? And then it pulled back down to like 50 and hung around 50 for a while. And then 30 was like that bottom, and it like never really went below that.
Well, it hit like 26 and then get bought up right back to 30 and then go to 40 and get sold right down to 30. It was just getting beat up.
But the good thing about Benny is he's constantly active. So because of that, like he's constantly active in Twitter, and because of that, I feel like he doesn't allow it to kind of just fade away like some of these other BRC20s did.
Yeah.
So after like their run up, so that's just kind of what I think as well. I'm kind of on the same thought process as Shizzy. What about you, J25? Are you in the track?
Yeah, I'm not really into track. I usually ask what it's for and don't get the best answers. But, it's a speculative token. I've looked at it before. I had some like early on, but liquidated it. I haven't been really following that. Honestly, there's just been so many protocols, and I try to keep a decently wide berth. But I've been kind of more focused on like possible L2s with like BitVM and Drive Chain, and then kind of staying within the lane of BRC20s. So I know track is a BRC20, but they want to build like a protocol on top of a protocol. Yeah. And the only one that I've been kind of bullish on there is Recursive Verse, because they're tied into bitmaps and they're actually kind of launching products that you can see in front of you right now with BRC 420. So I just haven't gone down the track loop, and it's just a whole nother ecosystem to learn. So that kind of gets burdensome when you're already like trying to stay at the front of another ecosystem that turns left and right every single day, on top of what collection just came. Oh, look at the shids came last night, whatever random thing, because you're kind of always playing the image Ordinals market, because you never know what free mint's going to come or what's going to pop up next. Ordinals.
It's funny that you say that, because it is. I mean, that's kind of the world we live in right now, unless it's meta protocol on top of meta protocol, right? Because TAP is basically a BRC20 that has more.
And then runes are going to be implemented this way and that way, And I've even looked at some of that, even toyed around with somebody's like testnet on it, but they had such a nice UI. I clicked a few buttons and it was kind of like a Unisat experience. So like, I'm kind of interested in stuff like that, where they're like,
for runes?
Hey, it's called runesalpha.xyz. They're doing an Ordishef allow list. I don't know. I found about it about some random way and got in there at the right time. So I need to go try and do a mint, but I did a deploy the other day. But I think I wiped out that hard drive, so I probably have to make a new testnet wallet. But yeah, you just make a testnet wallet with your X first, get a little bit of fake Bitcoin from a faucet, and kind of fart around. It might be closed.
Okay,
let me look it up on my end.
So are they working with the Ord team?
I don't believe so. I think this is just their interpretation of runes, or they're trying to build a launcher that will plug in once the runes implementation comes out.
Yeah.
So they're just kind of working on testnet front end things that are doing their best guess on the model.
Yeah. That sucks, because like I feel like that's what everybody's kind of doing with that. It's like pipe, like the UTXO based meta protocol that is based off of runes. Like people are just taking their best guess. Hey, look, I give Benny and his community props for getting pipe to where it is, right? Without like having like the nuts and bolts of how it's supposed to work. But yeah, we'll kind of see how that goes. I'm excited for runes just because Casey is the one that's supposedly behind it, but.
Well, I think this is huge. It just came out a couple days ago. I'm pretty sure it says Casey's putting runes in Ordinal Theory. So this will be basically mixing it all together now, which is
how's that going to work though?
Right.
So,
I did see it on a build of the client. Like there's runes get wrecked. This is the alpha, watch out or something is like the full title of it. I haven't done it because I am still trying to get it to fully download. I've been running into kinks, as I said. But
Gotcha.
yeah, I plan on watching those videos eventually.
I mean, look, I think he can figure it out, but like you're using
Uh-huh.
two totally different ways of using Bitcoin for these protocols. One's being stored in the op return, the other's being stored in the witness data.
Right.
Right. Like, and one is accounting based on tracking stats, ordinal theory, and the other one is UTXO based, right? So
Yeah, that'd be like implementing the atomical version of ordinals and then like not the token or something. I don't.
yeah. But hey, look, he made ordinal theory, so he's gonna be able to do it. I'll just say that, like, like smart, way smarter than me.
What if he upgrades everything to this new way of doing it? From the op return type of thing. You know what I mean?
Like
what
moving
if we
all of the inscriptions over?
It'd be less data you can put on, right? Because isn't that only 1 kilobyte and the witness data is 3?
But so this is funny because I don't know if Leonidas said this or something, but they always try to reach. They're like, well, you could actually technically find like miners that will take the transaction or whatever. But I'm like, are you gonna build like a group of private miners for this? Because that's gonna be hard.
I found that site. Sorry, it's Rune Alpha. Take the S out. RuneAlpha.xyz. I went to their Discord.
Danny Boy says $2 floor track.
I agree with that. I think it's a little lower than that, but I definitely agree with that.
I mean, I hope so because most BRC20s seem to be kind of holding their own. But if it keeps bleeding out, you never know where it could go. But Ordy's been like the lead case, obviously.
Yeah.
This is smooth.
Yeah, so they have like a little Git book and it'll walk you through the test net and just kind of their methodology a little bit, but it's definitely like not super technical because I'm able to do it. So
yeah,
that's
cool.
Definitely the UI.
Yeah.
We got to get Ordy Chef on because we've had him in our spaces.
Why haven't we had Ordy Chef on? That's baffling me. I gotta definitely reach out. I don't know why I haven't thought about reaching out sooner.
Yep. All right.
Busy building, I guess.
Yeah, busy building that Rune Alpha. All right, let's get through a couple of these topics here because we got some more. I don't think we're going to be able to hit all of them, but we'll talk about this one because I think this one's noteworthy. So SPL 20 is the BRC 20 version for Solana.
Yeah.
And then everybody, if you were on Twitter today, you saw Justin Sun tweet out that, hey, should we do Tron inscriptions? Okay, so with that, first of all, anyone with a brain, half a brain, knows to not touch that, right? So, but anyways,
it still trades, doesn't it?
Yeah. Hey, but maybe the token, but like I wouldn't even mess with the inscription stuff for them. Yeah. But okay, so you got Solana, you got Tron, you got Polygon, you got AVAX, you got Doginals, you got
Litecoin.
Yeah. So like, is this new
BSV?
Yeah, well,
we'll put it in there technically.
Please don't say that acronym. I can't hear it. I like some of the people from there, but yeah.
I honestly like to go in their spaces sometimes and just listen. They have a different opinion, and
just
they have a decent argument at some points. I mean, it was discussed at one point. It wasn't full thought out.
Is it going to take over a Bitcoin?
No, I don't think that chain has that kind of opportunity.
But they say that a lot.
Their thesis may have some grains of truth, but at the end of the day, we live in a world where the reality is that we have set blocks, and if you want to change it, then figure out a way to do it through a BIP. I mean,
I just think Craig Wright has to die first. That's the only way that would ever succeed. He has to be in a coffin somewhere before that would even be one of
a lot of them are talking about the case being like a trademark battle basically, and then they're going to tell all the exchanges not to list Bitcoin as Bitcoin, and BSV will be
maybe that's what they're talking about, that they're going to take it over.
That's what they're talking about in spaces and BSV spaces right now.
Oh man.
But anyways, he's not Satoshi. But anyways, so
sorry.
Will the inscription meta take over the EVM smart contract meta? or will they coexist? Because I mean, like Ethereum has ETH subscriptions. It seems like they're trying to. Are they just trying to follow this because they feel like this is like the hot meta right now, or will smart contracts kind of fade off? What do you think, J25? Start with you.
So I think that it's definitely the narrative on most of them. I would give like a small exception to maybe UTXO based ones, because I just view like energy being put into a digital asset different than a staking one.
Yeah, me too.
So that's a basis that other people aren't going to go off of when they're getting Ethereum and getting a token on top of it. If we don't see smart contracts being more stable and people can hack them more regularly, which stronger and stronger computers, it's not a hash rate thing, it's a coding thing. So, everybody argues maybe like a quantum computer is going to break Bitcoin. Everybody that I talk to that's a security expert's like, yeah, and then the hashing rate's going to go through the freaking roof. And we already have one of the safest algorithms out there. I mean, obviously there's stronger ones or this or that, but like, it's a very difficult one to break, even if you get lucky. So I just don't see that the price point will make sense when they can just do it so cheaply on those proof of stake ones. I think that the reason that people want it on Bitcoin is because Bitcoin's security, Bitcoin's value, and it's a collectible thing. People coming to Bitcoin that want to scale are being frustrated because they can't scale. And that's why we have the drive chain talks and all of those things. Yeah. But that's where I've really seen it. It's a scalability problem versus, say, a collector or degen way to look at it. Because people from like the Web 2 world want to be able to do 100,000 transactions, but they're not going to be able to do that every second. It's going to be every 10 or so minutes. And it's just a different beast.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like Bitcoin is like the epitome of the trilemma, to where like you have to give up one thing to increase the other two, and they will not give up security and decentralization. Yeah. That is just, it's like out of the question, right? So speed is where we struggle, right. And I just don't know if we'll ever get there. But one thing that I think was the biggest thing that came out of this was an ecosystem and community big enough and strong enough to support and create L1 assets. Yep. That's the hugest thing that came out of this, because even if it is slow, because if you remember back in 2020, before the merge and all this stuff, the freaking London update, everything Ethereum did, when we were trading, we were paying like $100, $200, $300 fees to, because you were making thousands of dollars in DeFi summer. It wasn't fast. It wasn't super fast. I mean, faster in Bitcoin, but my point that I'm getting at right now is if you even roll back like to meme season earlier this year, like people weren't doing meme coins on Arbitrum that's lightning fast, or Polygon that's lightning fast and cheap, which makes sense. Right. They did it in Ethereum. I'm paying like $200 to get like $150 worth of tokens.
Yeah, a little bit in Solana, but
yeah.
So to me, this whole thing with the SPL 20s Tron tokens, it's all because of Elon's fault. This is all Elon Musk's fault, because he went on Joe Rogan and said NFTs are not even really on the chain, right? So that really opened up a lot of people's eyes, and everyone's patting Jeff Bezos' pockets when you're using AWS. So all these chains, they all use AWS or another web service, some type of
IPFS or something.
Exactly. So once that happened, every single chain was like, okay, we need to start putting this stuff on chain. The only way to really do that is using the chain, just like how Ordinals theory is using it. So that is why this is all happening. It's not, you're not going to see tokens on that. You're not going to see anything like that. But you're more just going to see the NFTs being inscribed instead of being put on AWS.
Well, I disagree, because the SPL 20 is the tokens standard for Solana, and then
but they're inscribed.
Yeah, they're inscribing them, bro, like JSON format. And so in Ordinals has the DRC 20s that, like, what is it? The Doji coin or something? It's
I just don't see them taking off though as much.
That
as
one is though
smart contract coins. They're taking off now because early's being early. That's the thing now. Everyone wants to be early to it, so that's the only reason. But
kind of like your argument. Yeah, but your argument in a bull market is, does Doji run? Kind of like I was talking about with the BRC20 Doge. Does
Yeah.
Elon start saying Doge every other day? Are you're playing these kind of irrational speculations? Kind of
Yeah.
like you said, if Bitcoin's going to 100K or so, Doge is probably going to run too. And
Yeah.
kind of like, is the argument, do you just hold your sats or do you play other coins to have a better return?
You play other coins.
So kind of like Ugobi was saying, like even when you're shit coining, if the fee is $150 and you're making 15K, you're going to pay it. Like that's the thing, is, are you getting more return to deal with the layer one? Or as we saw, as it was busy the last couple of weeks, kind of Ordinals research from the summer when it first kind of launched.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's going to be, if the mempool stays hot, people are going to experiment other places. I'm not really excited about Ordinals, but I will probably eventually make a wallet, put $100 in there and speculate and just tuck it away, because it's too hard to ignore if you think Bitcoin's going to 100K, how is Doge assets and Doge underlying asset not going to do better? And I would argue the same for Ethereum, because I mean, really at the end of the day, Ordinals are viewed mainly on a browser on your computer. So certain browsers can't view certain things until there's more of a protocol standard for viewing them, which is why I kind of focus on the protocol standards. Like there's inconsistencies from marketplace to marketplace, gamma prints you can't see in this wallet, or counterfeit cards you can't see on some websites and other ones you can. So
that's true.
It's unfortunate that happens. If you have an OCM dimensions on Magic Eden, the page breaks. Like, there's just certain things that they're not prioritizing because it's not a priority right now. We are still very early. But if there's not like a, hey, get this extension and make sure you have it if you want to see all your ordinals perfect, that might be a stopgap. Or just having some kind of like recommended, hey, have this package if you're going to be a marketplace and cover all of these specific scripts and types, etc.
I actually think that some of these other chains are going to be successful, like DeFi Summer with the EVM chains. And I think there's not all of them, but I'm bullish because of this with the ordinal space. I feel like because they're copying Bitcoin, we're seeing the same thing from DeFi Summer. People are copying.
But on a proof of stake chain, like you're doing it inefficient when you have an efficient means right there, right? You could make a shit coin on Ethereum or on Solana, or you can choose to inscribe an inscription. Whereas on Doge and Litecoin and other things like this, you couldn't. So I think that's kind of the difference, right? Like you had this experience. There's traditional people playing L2 coins, and with a smart contract, they can launch any which way. But when it comes like the inscription and ordinal theory on UTXOs and with SAT model systems is just, I think, a different idea that has a better narrative than, oh, we're going to do this inefficient system, even though we could do anything we want with a smart contract like we have been doing for the last several years. I just don't see that playing as well. But with the UTXO ones, I do.
Well, here's the thing is that I feel like with the inscription way of doing it, they're almost all fair launches, aren't they?
And that, people love free stuff. So I don't disagree that, if you're early, like you were saying earlier too, you could probably make a bag and dump it or whatever. But does it have the longevity? I think that Litecoin and Dogecoin have a case because people have a trust in that proof of stake, in the proof of work model more, and we'll look at those when fees go absolutely bananas. Whereas like maybe more of the shit coinery goes to Ordinals, and maybe more of the research dev work goes to Litecoin eventually. Hopefully a lot of it just stays with Bitcoin and we figure out these solutions. But I mean, if 1,000 VSATs per VByte happens, people are going to find other things to do on a daily basis. We see it at like 100 to 50 to 200. So if it happens to where nobody can really use it for like 2-3 weeks, people are going to experiment.
And not to mention, like, while it's getting jammed, you put something in at 80 VBytes and then it shoots up to 200 VBytes. You're sitting there, you can't do anything, right? So unless you resend it at a higher VByte, but still, I mean, that happens a lot. So
I do.
Tools like mempool.space just put out a tool where you can RBF like
accelerate it.
Yeah, I see. But that doesn't always work great.
Well, I've tried some random ones, and yeah, I donated 20 or 30 bucks here and there.
Yeah, I mean, I do believe though, like I'm bullish about this for Bitcoin though, because it was the first one and it is the granddaddy of them all. But yeah, so looking forward to seeing how this environment plays out. Like one chain I'm a little bit shocked I haven't heard much about is Cardano, because Cardano is UTXO based, so surprised that they haven't jumped on the whole inscription thing, but we'll see if
They will. They will.
comes
They
up.
all will.
Maybe, yeah.
All right.
Cardano
I think it's probably
seems to
just
be still
maybe
left
people have
behind.
and people might just have a bad taste in their mouth because that change just had a lot of promises, even with NFTs and other things, and it just never really panned out, marketplaces, etc.
Yeah.
It's kind of like I was talking with BRC20s and then the other protocols. I've always kind of been the same with the chains. Like I did, mining of 3 different ones, and then I cut out Litecoin and just did 2. And like even with Ethereum, I didn't go far off the beaten path. I have I think 5 Solana just for a moon bag somewhere sitting away. Like that's as far as my extent goes.
Yeah.
But the stuff on Bitcoin I find more interesting just because of the finiteness. I own a number that's a 1 of 1 nobody will ever own, because somebody deployed it the other day to say F the SoFon, and I have one of those collectibles. So I think that's cool. Nobody can have that number ever again.
It's so funny.
Actually, go ahead.
No,
I actually have a shit ton of Solana token Hive, because I have a Hive mapper, and I drive around and I earn this token called Hive. So I was looking the other day. I have about 16 Solana. If I could have 16 Solana right now in this Hive token, but I'm just like, fuck it. I just don't have any Solana in that wallet.
Too, or something.
Yeah, well, I don't have no Solana in that wallet, so I'm just earning the Hive token, so I can't swap it, and I don't want.
Oh, you need Solana for gas.
Yeah, I haven't sent any to the wallet yet.
That's the one.
Send a little bit to Coinbase.
I know, but then I'm like, what if this Hive token goes to the moon and I swap it all? So
whatever, just keep it as a random thing if you got it for playing a fun game,
Well, I'm
like
just
an
driving
airdrop
around.
someday.
I'm driving to work and I'm earning this token.
Oh, it's the moving around one. Yeah, I had a buddy tell me about that one.
Like Google Maps.
You got to get 5 cell phones and do this all the time. I'm a cable guy.
It's a dash cam. I hook up in my car, and I'm driving around and I'm mapping.
One I heard.
Yeah, I'm mapping my way to work and back, and I earn
kind of like Google
token.
Maps style thing.
Yep,
exactly.
Okay.
And I've been doing it since
crypto,
like February, and I just been I'm stacking this token up, and I'm like, oh wow, I have it's worth 16 Solana now.
Yeah. Hey.
Well, dude, I mean, imagine if that Hive map becomes like a competitor, then the Hive token will probably take off. But so we'll see what happens there. All right, let's. We're not gonna get too deep into this because, I think no one really knows except for Block Runner, how the stamp thing works. No,
I got a pretty good breakdown a little bit, but I'm still gonna probably fumble about it. But
have you inscribed any?
No.
Okay. I inscribed 1. I think Yago did what, a couple?
Yeah, I did 2. I mean, it's just inscription fee. It wasn't too much. But the question was, I love your take on DMT theory. Okay, so this is a part of DMT theory. DMT theory, to me, in general, I love DMT theory, digital matter theory, because I feel like you can use data points to create, monetary value.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're just kind of making it up, but at least you have something to base off of and use it as I guess an endpoint, right? But this all ties into the bitmaps. A bunch of people are just launching bitmap tokens, and then NATS, which is non-arbitrary token, is a part of the digital matter theory that Block Runner launched.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, that introduction, J25, you said you have a little bit of an understanding. So, what do you know about it?
So, my understanding is vaguely that NATS is a test token and has been said to have no real value by the team. I might be wrong about that. That was what was interpreted to me, that they put this one out as a test, and then the ones that are actually tied to your bitmaps, I believe the DMT token is the one that BMT. I'm sorry, for bitmap is the one that is the actual first use case. But it's an experimental thing. I didn't get into bitmaps big when it first came off. I should have, but this is another protocol on top of a protocol. So I'm just kind of like, yeah, it's interesting. I saw it on Genie Data, asked a little bit about it, and was like, okay. And got a couple of explanations, and that was kind of my takeaway from the two. Obviously, it's a token people are going to speculate on, but that was what I heard.
Okay, so now I'm going to confuse everybody even more. So there's Nats the token, and then there's Nats the protocol. That's the non-arbitrary token protocol. And so a lot of people, that's where a lot of people are getting confused and upset about, right? With that being said, I still don't know what the hell this is, right? So it's like,
it's always the worst when you read a GitHub and you're like, what did I take away from that?
Yeah. And so the thing that I have been kind of talking about with this, like with Shizzy when we're prepping for shows, is I'm like, at the end of the day, like, is it a good market fit, right? And if it, like, I love intelligent design, intricate design, but that doesn't always bode well for like the end user. Like whenever you just put that out there without like an easy UI or UX or just a simple, if you can't explain it in a simple way, even if it is intricate and, intelligent design,
5 flashcards, something.
Yeah, exactly. Then you have, in my opinion, then you fail that market fit. I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
So, we're about to find out in 10 hours, right? When we have Block Runner in the spaces, because I have actually a list of questions. Hopefully they get answered before I ask them, but I can't wrap my head around it. I do feel the FOMO, and I'm about to, like, once Magic Eden adds them, I'm like, just buy like 100 and just don't
buy what though? Buy 100 of what?
Buy 100 like of these inscriptions.
The
Nats one, or and wasn't there
whatever, dude?
Exactly.
One? Yeah,
like,
I just want them.
Hey, I bought a number. I mean, like, whatever, I mean, like, we all have a thing that we're like, well, that sounds like a good idea,
dude. That was the epitome of like the situation. What Shizzy just said.
I just want them. I don't know. I just
and then there was something somebody else was saying that like the DMT one, or I'm forgetting the one. I'm sorry. BMT. What is it? What token?
BMT.
BMT. Okay, yeah. That one, you get it on per the transactions that's in it. It's like how many NAT tokens you get from it, or is that the NAT one? That's based on transactions from the block. Yeah, see, exactly, but whatever. But then you get a receipt for that block too, and you can list that, and it basically has no value either. So because you want the thing that it gives, like, I don't know. So it's kind of like a deploy contract. Like maybe it has sentimental value. It's a receipt down the road, but is it really anything of value? Who knows?
Hopefully we find out in 10 hours. I think we're all a little bit confused. Well,
I'm happy that they're experimenting, but maybe this one needed like a second cook. I don't know.
Oh, we did have a comment real quick. NAT is a protocol. It has a vague use case currently, but in the future may be more utilized.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Watch.
There's a reason why the iPhone beat out the Androids. And the Android's has more functionality. It's just more of a technical phone, but iPhones are simpler to use. They're just simpler to use, and that's why they won the market. And I just think that, like, you gotta, if you want mass adoption, it has to be mass easy. You know what I mean? Like, it has to be very easy. So I don't know, just my 2 stats with that.
And to your point, like when someone texts me and it comes up green, I just say, "Ew, this person."
That's a thing. That's a social. I'm just kidding. What else we get? We hit most of them. I think this is the Rat King must speak on this.
Rats getting at it. I'm bullish on Rats. I don't think there's a 100x left in Rats, because that'd be a $70 billion project of a meme coin, right? So to me, like, I am the unofficial Rat King.
10x.
But I'm not in Ordinals 10x. You know what I mean?
Dang. All right, man.
So to me,
we got greedy feet over here.
No, it's not greedy. It's
I'm just kidding.
I made my money out of Rats, right? I want to take that money and recycle it back into something that can 100,000x, right?
Yeah.
So that's the game we're playing here. So Rats getting at it is awesome. But again, 100x.
Did you say 100? Did you say 100,000x? Because
Well, I'm looking for
100
that,
or
dude.
1,000.
I'm
Okay.
100 or 1,000, but I'm looking for 100,000x as well. I want to put
Yeah.
a dollar in something, and that shit just
you might
makes
need
me
some
a
leverage
millionaire.
on that, but yeah.
It happens. No, but it happens. So you put a dollar in SHIB, in
Yeah.
you know, in 19
Then
or
how much
20,
would that be?
you'd be probably a multi-millionaire.
A
Right?
dollar.
A dollar, yeah.
I don't
In
know.
SHIB in like
SHIB was like
2020.
ridiculously cheap if you got
It was,
early,
yeah, I
Yeah.
remember.
You put a dollar in it, you could have got like trillions of SHIB, which
Yeah,
is
somebody like did
insane.
like a $20 or something and had like 50 million.
Had like
or-
$60
I
million
don't
or
know.
something. It was wild.
So J25, did you get into
Mhm.
rats?
Yeah, I got a little bit. I didn't get into the that was right when the mempool spiked, so I put in a 3 sats per V byte that I hoped would go overnight, which it would have like the last month. And I forgot to do
3?
it today. 3, yeah, man. It was going through at 3 like a month ago. Easy every night.
That's crazy.
Yeah. But no, I didn't get it in, and because it spiked that day, and then I debated on doing like the fee through ID Club and didn't do it. So I just went to secondary and got a smaller bag. So I got a little bit. I'm thinking about maybe parting with half of it. Hopefully the swap brings like, a little bit more liquidity. That's what I was kind of waiting for.
Yeah.
But yeah, I partially agree. But also kind of like my argument for Doge and Doji and Doginals, if you see 100K 250 Bitcoin, I mean, the meme coins are gonna be ideally the ones that beat the ridiculous rise of the underlying asset. So
the problem with that though, it's always the next meme coin. Like Doge went up a shit ton, right? But it didn't repeat the 100x. It was SHIB, and then SHIB went up, and then it was all these other different meme coins, right?
Because you can't go up 100x from where
exactly.
it went.
But the trick is recycle that money back into something else, and that's something I learned from the last time. Doge jumps, find the next doggy coin. Next doggy coin jumps, find the next doggy coin. So in this situation, like Rat shoots up. Honk could be.
Honk is literally ranging between 1 and 3 million max right now.
But that's exactly my point.
Yeah, so it could easily be that next 100x,
maybe 25x or something.
Yeah, 25x.
Maybe
100,000x, like Susie said.
I mean,
right.
For Rats to be at an $80 million market cap, and probably Monday it will be at $110 million market cap once it makes the swap. I mean, for 100x for Honk to get to let's just say Honk gets back down to 1.5 million or 2 million, it's potentially possible, right?
Yeah,
like that's a lot better chance than Rats to do 100x.
Yeah. Are you holding all your Rats, J25?
Yeah, I currently am. I transfer inscribed both of them, so I plan on like listing one. So obviously with like the sell off recently, I've been I kind of missed the top on a couple that I wanted to drop, so I'm just holding a few. But I sold a few. Honestly, I was surprised when this liquidity picked up. I had some random stuff I did in the spring of tokens that I thought that I would never ever sell, like at LFG. Yeah, I got like $600 for like some random inscription that I did because I had a decent number of those tokens. So I was just like, yeah, please, thank you. Like, I hope it goes to the moon for you, but I have no faith in this one. No, I'm definitely like, even for like image ordinals and BRCs, I'm listing them at like a price that I'd be happy with, and maybe I missed the top, and that's why I've even been recommending like list it where you think is kind of ridiculous, and you can bring it down. If you really do need that liquidity, because it seems like things are stretching more than they do in other things. You were happy with like a 2 or 3x, and kind of like Shizzy was saying, like, no, I'm looking for 10s and more, because things are really getting a little frothy at times. And maybe
we're in the beginning of the bull market, right? Like this is
ideally,
potentially day 30 of the bull market. Like, we
so like the one
300 more days.
Yeah, and then the one caveat I was gonna say was we saw with like the shitcoinery, it mainly being led by like Twitter, and I would argue like a North American presence. And I think that this with Bitcoin and the amount of value locked in the Asian communities, even in South America and Europe, that with Bitcoin, that this is a much more decentralized and not US led thing. So that's why we've tried to tap into at like Ordinal Support Desk and other places to everybody that we can from different places, because we need to know what other people are kind of thinking and looking into, because it's not all on Twitter. It's a lot. It's in WeChat or other things. Maybe they we wouldn't have found OKX if we wouldn't have talked to Liliana more, or I happened to be using it, stuff like that. And everybody else was like, oh, it's it's OKX or whatever. But I'm like, you got to look at this volume. It's ridiculous. Like we were earlier,
It's refreshing to me though that it's honestly that it's not led by like English speaking people this time so far. Because I mean, it gets to the point to where you just feel so degen that you're just
how many more times can you hear pump it up, right?
Yeah, or some of these people 100,000 plus followers are just getting paid by the whoever's So, but yeah, I feel like
just my point is that I get that things happen in the past certain ways, but this time is different. So just be ready to watch for other signals. And I think that's been the one thing I've been focusing on is just watching for the signals that mainly the Asian community leads, but any of them, I shit on Shids the other night because I was like, these are ugly. Then as soon as I heard the lore and all the jokes about it, I thought it was the funniest thing ever. I think their Twitter's hilarious. I didn't jump on it, but it's been doing well. So
what's the lore?
If I don't like it, it's probably going to do great. So
what's the lore behind it?
So the Wasi culture, oh gosh, this is a good one. We've gotten nuggets from everybody, but Stripes he dove headfirst into it, and he takes really good notes. He might be a good person. Yeah, they speak small, which is a broken style English, and every Wasi lives for about 14 days and then dies, but it doesn't really matter because then you come back as a dead Wasi, and then you're usually breaking stuff and really bad at things anyways. You serve the almighty Queen Wasi and all things are for her. It's kind of like a 2000
cult, bro.
Yeah, it's like a 2016 bear market meme, kind of like a Rare Pepe's side thing. Okay. And it was, I heard vague things about it in the past once I started to hear about the culture and stuff, and I was like, okay. But when I first saw it on Genie Data, I saw the first 1,000 coming through, and I was just like, what are these ugly penguins doing? And then Degeneralized and Stripes and a few others came into the space and kind of gave me more of the background. I was like, okay, I kind of remember seeing these trickle over to maybe Facebook back then, or it's this or that. And those things that can meme and are just natural and organic, I think we've seen that with a lot of the collections, have a lot more legs because people kind of have a more of a buy-in maybe than ones that are following the lead of somebody. I think OMB broke out of that little rut. Maybe there's something going there and people are excited about that. But I think we've really seen that people want just more natural free mints, like you said, might do well on other ones, and just that kind of community everybody has a shot, and if you want to come or go, it's your choice. But if you're following the lead of, say, a project leader or a team or a business, that can change at any time. Whereas I think the community aspect is just it has a natural story, and maybe there's something built out of it more, but there's zero expectations going into it. So if you're willing to pay $1,000 for a Goosenal, you better have something that you believe in with it's got to buy Dimitri. I think that long-term has value. He's a generative artist, etc. Whereas when it was $20, it was oh shit, this might go up. So it turns into a different play when it hits those different levels. OMB, higher price point, kind of, was struggling at that 0.2 level and then shot up. Can it keep that 0.4 plus level? You have different buyers at that point, just like you had different buyers when Bored Apes were over 100 ETH. It was the M&Ms and the Kardashians and all the Pico top buys, Steve Aoki, right? He came and crushed every single collection right when it was at the top. So that's what you want to see next, is when it's big people in China, instead of or buying Rolexes, they're getting a Wasi or whatever it might be, and it's because it's their favorite meme from 10 years ago or whatever.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so this was launched by the Opium team, I think.
Yes, it was. Yeah, we looked into that. Yep.
Do you know if the ones with the Bitcoin logo are worth more, or?
So Stripes actually did a little breakdown. I'm guessing he kind of just did checks on an Excel spreadsheet or something. Gotcha. But you can look through their site that they minted from, unless they shut it down. That's all he did. He didn't like
Gotcha.
use a scraper or anything. Yeah, he just kind of went through and so like the black and red ones, I believe, are rarer. The ones with horns, any of the ones that just like if you're scanning through and just have like a drastically different style, it was pretty much those ones. But yeah, Stripes would be the one to hit up about the shids. He has a really good way of just kind of breaking down a collection and like getting to work, right? He's really into the Bitcoin frogs, so I know he's been trading them, and he knows that collection just inside and out. When he sees something near the floor with value, he's willing to grab it up and list it higher, or if he has longer term medium, play with it, and he'll like kind of hold on to those medium rares and see what happens. If it 10x is ideally those 20x, right?
Gotcha. Well,
Nice.
I think that's our show here, right, guys? We're gonna
Cool.
call it here because we do have a
You got a
Spaces
morning,
in
yeah. I'll
Yeah,
probably
yeah.
be there.
9 hours.
I was gonna say maybe we could do like a last word from everybody.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah. So you want to start J25? Like any last advice or anything to the audience out there?
For sure. Yeah, definitely keep watching Ordinal Revolution. It was a blast with you guys. Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, I know how it goes. But no, really, you guys are putting out more content. Been really great for the space. Giving a place for like someone like me to come talk. And I'm just a nerd that's listened to other people and learned more. That's literally all I've done since the spring. So
Basically
that's
us
why
too.
that's why I've been excited about this, because it's for sure sparked something in me that has made me want to learn more about Bitcoin, make me learn more about technology and computers. Am I going to put on my tinfoil hat and go in my bunker? No, not yet. But it does make me honestly think more about being my own bank, being self-sovereign,
Yes.
taking my wife through the procedure of putting a seed phrase in, getting funds to an exchange. You know what I mean? Like just thinking about these things long term. So that's basically what I would say is if you have questions, we've run a space called the Ordinal Support Desk. It's from some really great guys that just kind of let me tag along, from based artists and Bean and just everybody that's been really welcoming over there. Block with the alpha he's been given. And you guys really kind of started that train. I feel like that you were bringing just like really current content, and it's just been bleeding all over the space. So if you want to learn more, there's ways to learn out there. Do your own research. That's probably the best way you can go about it. But get a little bit of opinion here. Go to the block runners. Even though I may not like their protocol that they just put out, they're making an experiment, and that's my choice to spend my sats or not. And other people are great. I wish them the best, and they've put out great content for a long time as well. So anybody that's trying to do something cool in the space and not have nefarious means, I'm all about it. And I'll probably at least come across it and read it a little bit. And there's just too much to look at every single thing. So find something you like. And if you're in it for the art and you just want to collect, awesome. If you want a shitcoin, awesome. But we all can find something we like to do. And if you like to do a lot of a little bit or all of one thing, like let's do that. But that's one reason I kind of wanted to look into more like Drive Chain and BitVM. How can these like random protocols work together to make solutions that they're all kind of working on for layer 2, but rather than having 5 devs here, 50 devs here, one guy doing this random thing, like just maybe do a little bit more coordinated attack or just share notes a little bit more. I get nobody wants to be front ran and it's a business and this is the real world, but I think that Drive Chain's method has at least some of those aspects. So if we're going to do level 2s, like maybe we should just at least listen a little bit more. And I don't think any of those are really being listened to, because I wouldn't be here if people wouldn't listen to me. So, and I know that you guys probably feel the same way. So thanks again for having me. I'd love to do it anytime, and I'll probably see you guys in the spaces soon.
Yeah, for sure, man. That was awesome. I think you hit the nail on the head with that. I mean,
real quick, hold on.
Go ahead.
Block said this is a long one. Should call or Ordinal Support Desk, basically.
Yeah. I'm glad we could ramble on about everything.
Yeah. It was a fun one.
I've had some practice. No, I appreciate it.
Yeah. I was just gonna say, we just came out of like a really, exciting time in Ordinals for energy that just got re-injected. I'd say, do your own research, like J25 said. And the one thing I just want to say, because I know you gotta go next, and then we can call it, is get connected to the community. Like, you know, I think that is so huge. Like J25 said, man, like he's in the Ordinal support desk. You know, we all know each other, and when you get connected, don't let your internal fear stop you from that, because I promise you, like, there's so much love in the Ordinal space. You know, there's so much like acceptance there. So that's just my two cents there.
Yeah, I completely agree. And to me, like, if you're looking for alpha or finding alpha, definitely the Ordinal support desk. You know, that's one of the places where, you know, I go all the time. When I'm bored, I just look on my phone and like, oh, let's see what these guys are talking about.
Yeah.
And next thing
I
I'm
see
I'm
you
on
there all the time
stage,
listening.
and an hour and a half goes by. I'm like, oh wow, like this is crazy. Or like when I'm at work, you know, I pop it on and then I hear about MMSS and I'm like, oh, what is this? You know, and next thing I know, I'm 500 hours deep in a token that I don't know nothing about. So it's like, but it's so appreciate you having you on, man. Really appreciate you coming on. That's really awesome. And it's something we want to do. I mean, obviously we have a lot of projects on the show, but having the community members like yourself on the show means more to people than actually, you know, than actually having these projects on, because without the community, we're nothing, right? And without community leaders like yourself, we are nothing in this space. And so that's another thing we want to showcase. We want to showcase people like Block. We want to showcase people like you. We want to showcase people like even Eric with the project with Tom Goes Market and stuff like that. Like that's still something that we want to showcase, because they are community leaders and they are a big part of what helped build us to where we are today. So
for sure. I had one last thing I was curious. Is that an Ordinals hat that's numbered that Ugobi's got? Is that one of the select few that are numbered?
I don't think so.
Okay. I think there was like the first 50 of them were numbered. Like,
oh really? Where is it on the tag?
I think it was just inside the hat written.
Okay, I'm gonna check now.
It could have been a meme. It could have been a meme. I don't know. I got suckered.
You know what? It's probably not, because I got it like 2 months ago and it took forever to get to me.
So. It was probably a later run. That's all good. I was just curious.
Yeah, that's awesome though. We'll look into that.
Yeah, man.
All right. Well,
thank you guys.
All right. We got a couple more comments from Block real quick. Digital Scholars one. This is Block, right? I don't want to say it's not.
It's Block. He's feeding into it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I just want to make sure, but it goes gentlemen and scholars. All right. Yeah,
I can tell
Block.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, most of the BRC20 stuff I learned from Block. So kind of like I said, we're following the Asian community. He's great at picking up on those cues and finding anomalies, and I have a decent knack at that. So I've started to get better at it, but I still don't really make calls. I haven't done every single thing Block does. You know, but I think that his perspective is really good.
Well, I know he's been using Rosetta Stone for the past 2 months.
Learning Chinese.
No, but like it's everybody.
Dude, it's all about the Google Lens, man. You just put your Google Lens over anything and it'll translate it. But yeah, 100%. The WeChat's pretty awesome. Actually, if you hold down the button, you just hit a button and it'll translate like the next 5 messages, as long as it's not an image. Yeah, no, they got really good little like quirks and stuff like that.
Well, so I just download WeChat on my Apple phone, and that's fine.
You have to have VPN.
I don't know if the Apple network will let you have that.
Yeah, have VPN for that.
But yeah, so I have an Android. It's an old phone. I always run my VPN on it, and Liliana added me to a few groups. But I was like, hey, can I just be in like a BRC20 of all of them? And she's like, no, there's like 5 for each token. Like, so you have to like tell me the token, you know what I mean? So that's, just like gives you a little insight into like, there's a lot of people talking about a lot of BRCs, and that's where the volume's coming from.
For sure. Yeah, man. Yep. All right, let's get out of here. We have this.
Yeah, you guys got an early morning, and I'm sure I'll see you there.
Yep.
Like again, we appreciate you, buddy. See you later.
Awesome. Take it easy, guys.
All right. Peace.
That was really amazing. We appreciate you guys watching, listening. We'll definitely have this on Apple and Spotify, so you guys can listen to this as well. We appreciate you guys, and that's the show. And tune in tomorrow, 8 a.m. Eastern time, which is what, 9 hours from right now?
Yeah.
Right.
Join the spaces. There's going to be a good one. The Block Runner is going to be there to answer a million questions about DMT.
And bring your questions. We're gonna we'll have you guys on stage as soon as you guys request, and hopefully we don't have too many requests. Because there's only 12 people, but it should be very fun.
Yep, for sure. All right.
Any last words, Iago?
No last words. Yeah. Ready, Pat? It's been great. It was a
It's
damn
been a long
good show.
day. We had Ryder
Yeah.
this morning, and now we had this. It's been
Yeah.
a crazy day. But
For sure.
see
All
you
right.
guys.
Peace.
Peace.